Welcome to the demo video for the end of the third H3 work cycle. H3 is the new self-deposit application for the Stanford Digital Repository built by the engineering and design team from Stanford University Libraries. Our focus for this work cycle was to complete all work needed to move our users over to the new application and to continue simplifying the UI, making depositing easier, and adding new features requested by our users. We successfully completed migration to the new application the week of July 7th and have continued with improvements during the last few weeks of the work cycle. One of our main goals for this work cycle was to implement an integration with the file transfer service Globus to assist with large deposits. We are now able to support up to 25,000 files in the form, making it possible for Globus users with lots of files to see the transferred files listed here before completing their deposit. This also makes it possible for users to remove individual files uploaded via Globus without having to redo the Globus transfer, and to add in extra files via the drag and drop without the files transferred via Globus being deleted. With our new implementation, users have immediate access in the form to the Globus shared folder link and can easily access this link at any time. And we've added support for Microsoft OneDrive. We've made a number of simplifications to the deposit form. The first is a simplification of the author and contributor section, where we've collapsed what were previously separate sections for individuals or organizations that either should or should not be included in the citation, because this distinction was a point of confusion for many users. We are also no longer auto-generating citations, which depended on this distinction. For these reasons, we have changed the form so that all authors and contributors are now entered into a single orderable list. A significant new feature is that depositors can now include affiliations for each of the individual contributors. Institutions are chosen from the research organization registry in a box with a type-ahead search. The department, program, or center at the institution can be included as a free text entry. It's also possible to enter multiple affiliations for each author. Another section of the form we've simplified is the related content. We previously had separate sections for related publications and related links. We have simplified this to one section where the user can include either a resource URL, preferably a URI, or a full citation for a published work. In either case, they will now be required to indicate how this work is related to the deposit. We're providing a link to documentation with explanations and example usage for each of these relationship types. We hope this helps clarify what sorts of work should be included and removes another confusing decision point. We've also simplified versioning. In H2, users were required to create a new public version of a work if they made any changes to the files. If the files were not changed, they were allowed to choose whether to make a new public version or not. This created a complicated decision point. We have simplified this so that if the files have changed, a new public version is created. If the files have not changed, then we update the current public version instead of creating a new one. Either way, the depositor is required to enter a short description of the changes they have made. Another great new feature is the ability to share permissions on a deposit so that others at Stanford can view, edit, or deposit this work. The feature supports many use cases, including student group projects, multiple research team members contributing to a single deposit, a PI delegating tasks for a deposit to students or postdocs, and an admin depositing open access publications on behalf of a faculty member. The depositor enters the SUNET IDs or Stanford email addresses for the people who should be able to access the draft or completed work, assigns each of them the desired permission level, and then saves. Each of the people added will be listed on the info page for the deposit and will receive an email letting them know that the deposit has been shared with them. We've also simplified the collection form. In the past, collection metadata and collection settings had to be modified on two separate forms, and the information from these forms was displayed on two separate pages. We've collapsed all this into a single form and info page. The application detects if changes have been made to the metadata that require a redeposit to the SDR, or if application settings that only need to be saved locally were changed, and then performs the appropriate task. The last thing I want to mention is a change to reviewers for collections that have the review workflow turned on. We've made it easier for collection managers to designate which people get the emails about deposits being submitted for review. In the past, all managers on the collection and any additional reviewers noted in the review workflow section of the form received these emails. Now, only the managers and additional reviewers listed in the review workflow section of the form will receive the emails. There were so many changes and updates to the self-deposit application over the course of this project that we haven't been able to include them all in the demo videos. I encourage you to watch the demo video from the end of the last work cycle, which is linked in the description below, to see some of the improvements to collection management. And keep an eye out for upcoming videos with more details about specific features. Thanks to the team for all their hard work on this project, as well as the SDR users and library staff who participated in testing and provided us with invaluable feedback. And thank you so much for watching.